time to get away. It's time to get away from you. Actually, from your emotions and your trauma and the negativity that lives in your physical being as we speak. Let's crack on, shall we? This is a revolutionary little technique called the Sedona method that I have used, and I know many other people have used very successfully. And it is a phenomenal technique to let go of the negative emotions which are inevitable in your day-to-day life. You know, oh my god, I slept in. Remember that time Mum left me in the shop? And it's inevitable that these emotions are going to come up in our day-to-day life, because all of us experience suffering, all of us experience trauma to different extents. You know, if you're born in Gaza, for example, or you're in the developing world, then you know it's a different kind of trauma and war and suffering and torture and all this kind of stuff. But even in the Western world, you know, when we don't have the external adversity, we find ways to eat ourselves alive internally. And this emotion, this trauma that we've all experienced, that impacts us all, is stored in our physical body. Literally stored in our cells. If you've read the book The Body Keeps the Score, there's a trauma expert called Dr. Peter Levine, and he said that the trauma is stuck in the cells of our bodies, so we need to physically remove them. And that's why, as I always say, you know, in ayahuasca there's a physical purging. That's your negative emotions literally leaving your system physically. It's incredibly powerful, but you don't need to do ayahuasca in order to experience this. You know, when you feel anxious or depressed, the thoughts that come, or the negativity, is actually the effect, the cause of which is a physical sensation in your body. You know, your heart's racing, butterflies in your stomach, lack of energy, overwhelm. You know, usually these things are physical sensations, and then we react to them. You know, we don't enjoy feeling like that, so we try and numb it with alcohol or booze or YouTube or exercise. Sometimes we all find our coping mechanisms in order to, you know, mitigate the symptoms. But we never actually get to the root cause of the issue, which is physically in our body. And for me anyway, it's been a huge game changer in my life to learn how to just sit in and welcome the emotions as they come, you know, because all they want is to be heard. Those emotions, another way you could look at it is that it's your inner child within you that's like screaming for help, screaming and crying and needing someone there to soothe it. And so when you as an adult choose to ignore it, think of that as if you're the parent and there's the child. You choose to ignore it and you're like, shut up, I'm just going to watch YouTube. Shut up, I'm having a few cans with my mates. Shut up, I'm going to do some lines. You know what I mean? What do you think that would, or what reaction would you expect that to have of the kid? They would feel abandoned. So it's a good analogy for how you should treat your own system and your own body. When you feel negativity, when you feel these emotions that we don't enjoy feeling, it's a better idea, in my experience, to welcome them, to sit in them, and to allow them to express themselves in whatever the way that is. Because all they want is to be, you know, heard. And the reason that you should do this is because by listening to them, by immersing in them, we can let them go. And when you numb it, you never allow the emotions to process or let go from your physical system. And therefore you keep experiencing the same thing again, going around this cycle. Whereas when you let them go and you process, they're gone. And your baseline, your emotional baseline that you have, just gradually lifts and lifts and lifts and lifts and lifts. And your experience of reality gets better and better and better and better, happier, lighter, more joyous. You know, you find yourself laughing at yourself more often, you find yourself whistling and singing more often, because there's not as much weighing you down physically. Because the reality is, you should feel amazing every day. You should feel happy from the moment you open your eyes to the moment you go to bed, more or less. Of course, there are negative emotions that come up in the world, stress and anxiety and whatnot, but these things are passing clouds. Your baseline should be good. It's possible to experience that. It's possible to feel like that on a day-to-day basis. I didn't know this because I'd never experienced that in my life before. Well, I thought the reality of being a human being was stress and anxiety, and that's the way I experienced life for many, many years. But now I've tasted another way, which is that you, most of the time, you feel pretty good, and you have a few dips here and there, but the dips are like, you know, instead of it being always feel shy with a few, you know, peaks of feeling good, now it's mostly feel good with a few dips that you work back from. So let's do a little exercise, shall we? I'll help you through the Sedona method. So I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to feel into your body. And I want you to have a feel about what's present right now for you in your physical body. What can you feel? Maybe there's some tension. For me, I'm recovering from a back injury, so there's some tension in my lower back. Maybe there's some anxiety. Maybe there's the need to get up out of your chair, some aversion to something, some procrastination. Whatever it is, what's the physical sensations and emotions that you can feel in your body right now? And I want you to feel into this emotion and think, can I welcome it? Can I allow this emotion to be there without trying to change it in any way? Now, I want you to see if there's an equal and opposite force within you. I need to change this emotion. I need to do something about it. I need to be anywhere else other than here right now, sitting and welcoming this emotion. And could you welcome that as well? Could you welcome every single thing that you're currently experiencing, whether it is quote unquote good or quote unquote bad? I remember a Buddhist monk talking about depression, and whenever it would come, he would say, "Hello depression, welcome." So I'm wondering whether you can bring that kind of energy to the emotions you're experiencing. Now I want you to ask yourself this question. Could I let it go? Just could I? You don't need to do anything. Just ask yourself if it's possible that you could let this go. Now, would you let it go? Would you allow this emotion to leave? And finally, when? When would be a good time to let it go? Is it now? Or is it later? And then I just want you to think about this thought, that you are already free, that the feeling of freedom that you're looking for in the external world, through wealth or love or travel or health, is already available to you in every moment. It's already here. So you can open your eyes now and welcome to a whole new reality. Hopefully you feel a bit lighter. That process is incredibly powerful in its simplicity. I find that the most potent tools usually are the simplest ones. And all I want to say is that, the journey of spirituality is one of recognizing that there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do, you are already there. Be here now. Now this is a concept, it's an easy thing to talk about, it's just words coming out my mouth, but it is also the truth of the situation. And as I said, that feeling of freedom that we're all hoping to get by making, £1 million, or being able to travel the world, or being able to do whatever we want, is available to you in every single moment. Because the thing isn't the important thing, and £1 million doesn't even matter to you. You're hoping that that's going to give you a certain feeling of freedom and power and autonomy in the world. And what I'm saying to you is that through the spiritual process, you can tap into that emotion, regardless of how much money you've had in the bank, and I've had experience with this. You know, there are people who are in solitary confinement in jail who feel freer than people who are billionaires, and feel freer than you in your life just now, because they have mastered this process of letting go and of being present and recognizing that true freedom happens within your own mind, within, internally. And the reason that you don't experience this freedom just now is because it's buried under so many negative emotions that you need to learn how to process. There are many different tools for it, it's meditation or ayahuasca or therapy and all this other stuff. But one of the simplest tools that you can use is this process of letting go, recognizing it's when it's there, being aware of it. That's the first thing. If you're not aware of it, if you don't know it's there, then it's impossible to let it go. Learning how to quiet your mind to be aware of it, and then learning how to let it go whenever it comes up, as many times as it comes up. As often it comes up again and you let it go again. It comes up again and you let it go again. That's the process of ever lightening the burden, so you're no longer carrying these shopping bags full of bricks around with you every single moment in your day, and you realise, there's this kind of emergent property of joy, of happiness, of humour, of lightness, of feeling good. And the process you go through is kind of welcome it, kind of notice it, kind of welcome it. Could I let it go? Would I let it go? When? So try just giving that a bash in your day-to-day life. The book again is called The Sedona Method. It's a very powerful practice, and hope that helps. So I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.